When I make my new stand, I intend to polyurethane it. If I don't make it out of concrete, I'm actually hoping to be able to make my own dedicated milking room, but we'll see how that works out. If it has to be a stand like the one I'm using now, which I generally really like, I would either put in little bits of sand into the final coat of polyurethane, or I would do what I'm doing right now, which I really like. You can see some of the ergonomic pads that you could put down. Sometimes you see them in dog kennels. You might see them in a gymnastic mat, or some people put them underneath their desks or their kitchen sinks. So it's a sealed rubber cushion for you to stand on. That can be taken off and hosed down and sterilized. It also gives the goat something non-slippery to stand on. Because when I was just milking on the painted wooden stand, they'd slide out and get really scared. So having that cushion for them to stand on gives them security and cuts down on the amount of kicking and amount of dirt that might wind up to the milking bucket. Now, what do you milk into? I have seen people milk into stainless steel saucepans. I've seen people milk into glass bowls. I don't suggest that. I actually milk into a stainless steel mixing bowl. And then if I've got a taller dough that can handle it, I will milk it directly into a 2-pint milking bucket. You do not need a big milking bucket. I started out with a big milking bucket. I use it if I'm going to be milking all 17 of my doughs at a peak lactation, then I'll use that. But I will filter first into a small container and then pour it into the bucket. I actually put a lid on my bucket, or I put a lid on my tote. So do not milk into a plastic thing. Plastic is too easy to scratch, and milk will get into those scratches, and then you can have bacterial growth. So keep it to something metal that's sealed, enamel if you have to, but watch the enamel can chip, or stainless steel, or ceramic. Something ceramic will work too. You don't want it to be scratchable. So you want to be able to get it as clean as possible. All right. So you've got your milking vessel. You've got your milking stand. I feed while my goats are on the milking stand. The late Evan Evans, who runs, when she was alive, she ran Split Creek Dairy down in the Carolinas. She did not feed on the milking stand. She fed outside. Her goats learned how to stand still. She had a commercial operation. That's what worked for her. You have to decide what works for you. Okay? I actually use what's called a line feeder, often used for foals. It is designed to sit right over a 2x4. So I can set it right over the 2x4. I can easily clean that. I can fill it up, and I can go through several goats. I actually milk faster than my goats can eat. So when I can, and right now we're kind of full up in the barn, but when I can, I put a big rubber bucket out there with extra grain and maybe some alfalfa hay if I've got access to that. And the milkers can go down and eat to their heart's content after that. Right now, until I have a stall available, they get a little more time on the stand and then they go back. I am losing production. I'm saving time. Currently, I am milking 17 does. That can take a bit of time. So why don't I milk by milking machine? I do sometimes. I don't like to milk by milking machine, and we're going to talk more about that in a little while. But I just use my hands. I use some warm soapy water to wash the udder off, or even just warm water. What does that do? It not only washes the udder off and gets loose dirt off and gets germs off, it also triggers milk letdown. So the oxytocin is released from the goat, and the Pitocin actually causes her to let down her milk, and then we can harvest it. And you'll see from the video how I milk. I do not milk like this, okay? Nor do I milk like this, although some people do, all right? If you milk like this, and I do that on very small teated doughs, you need to use some sort of lubricant. Butter, bag balm, udder balm, I use my own hand cream that I make. I personally have a difficult time milking like that, but sometimes it's necessary at a first freshener. I learned to milk on cows. So what I do is I grab at the top of the teat. If this is the teat, I will put my hand around that, and then I will sequentially squeeze down one finger at a time until I'm actually pushing the milk at the bottom of the teat. There is a teat orifice, a milk orifice here. Hopefully it's a good sized one. You can get a really nice stream coming out of there. Then I release and do it all over again. And that release looks like I'm going up into the udder. I'm really not. Now, as the udder starts to be emptied out, that teat will get more and more flaccid, for lack of a better word. I will be able to capture more milk up high. Don't want to go up into the udder and hurt the dough. I just want to massage it down into the teat. Okay? Now, when you're milking, you're actually need to be as gentle as you possibly can be. I've seen people wringing teats out. Please don't wring teats out. That really hurts. Okay? Use lubrication if you need to. Whatever works for you. There isn't an udder police that's going to come out and yell at you for milking improperly, but you don't want to cause harm to the dough. So this type of system has been used by cow farmers and goat farmers for hundreds of years. And it works just fine. If you've got carpal tunnel, it may make it better, it may make it worse. I actually didn't have carpal tunnel until I started milking a lot of goats and working with computers a lot. Now, it acts up sometimes.